It's
It's very powerful.
powerful.
It's
It's
invisible. I don't care if you
enabling.
want to call it a devil or a
Don't you
ghost or a
want to
demon.
call a
There's
ghost,
something in this
demon,
home
or something
which
in this
has the
house
intelligence to
which has
inflict
the
physical
intelligence
and psychological
to
harm
inflict physical
upon this
and
family?
psychological harm upon you? Imagine a house that looks completely ordinary from the outside. But the moment you step inside, it feels like the atmosphere has changed, as if the walls are listening to your breaths and some invisible force is constantly watching you. This is the story of the Smurl family. The year was 1973. The Smurl family lived in the West Pittsburgh area of Pennsylvania, USA. But then came a terrifying storm, after which their old house was completely destroyed and they needed to find a new place to live. Because due to this storm, the Smurl family had already suffered significant losses. They had incurred a lot of damage, so they wanted an inexpensive house. And history shows that whenever a house is acquired cheaply, there is usually something wrong with it.
Whenever this happened, the Smurl family found a new house on Cheese Street. From the outside, it looked like an ordinary building, with one section where Jack and Janet lived with their 4 daughters, and on the other side lived their elderly parents, John and Mary. At first, the family was quite happy. They felt that maybe life was finally getting back on track. But they had no idea that they were about to experience paranormal events so extreme that in 2025, a horror movie would be made about their lives. The Conjuring, The Last Ride.
Defend us. Be our safeguard against the devil.
In nomine Patris, et Filii et Spiritus Sanctus, by the power of our Lord.
We are going to find out what actually happened to this family in real life. After moving into this house, everything seemed normal for the Smurl family. Jack got a promotion at work, and Janet started volunteering at a local school. The grandparents' health was also perfectly fine. Everyone thought the house was absolutely perfect. But slowly, this perfect house began to reveal its true face. At first, there were small incidents, like strange sounds echoing in the rooms, and paint.
Mysterious stains began to appear on the walls, as if someone had deliberately left those marks there. And the scariest part? Even after a power outage, the appliances would turn on and off by themselves. At night, the TV would switch on its own, and after these incidents began, a series of terrible smells followed. A strong, sulfur-like odor started spreading throughout the house. It felt as if someone had opened the gates of hell. A plumber was called. The pipes were checked, but nothing was found. Still, the family thought, let's just ignore these small things. But the house was not going to ignore them. Slowly, the atmosphere of the house began to change. It felt as if some invisible demonic force was growing there. And the first person to experience these strange happenings was Mary.
And Janet felt it too. Both of them saw that their lookalikes were roaming around inside the house. Yes, you heard that right. Doppelgangers. Entities that looked exactly like them. Doppelganger is a German word. It means double walker. In simple terms, your second self, or a lookalike who isn't your sibling or relative, but looks exactly like you. And these doubles do things that can turn your life into hell. Mary said that she often heard the fake Janet shouting abuses, while at that same moment, the real Janet was somewhere else. Even Janet herself saw her doppelganger inside the house, doing strange things, shouting and acting violently. Just imagine if you heard the voice of your own evil copy inside your own house. How would you feel?
This was no longer just a game of fear. It was becoming deadly. Because in the midst of this terror, Jack's mother, Mary, suffered a heart attack. Her heart failed, and for the first time, the family realized that the house was now toying with their lives. But it didn't stop there. Things were about to get even worse. One night, Jack was in a deep sleep. Suddenly, strange whispers echoed in his ears. When he woke up, he saw a horrifying sight, a scene no human could ever forget. A dark, terrifying shadow, a demon, was hovering near his wife Janet's feet. It was such a bizarre experience that after seeing it, Jack's hair stood on end. The events didn't just stop at frightening them. Now these incidents slowly became life-threatening. For example, one day, a light fixture fell from the ceiling. A whole chandelier crashed down, and in this incident, Jack's daughter was seriously injured. Their other daughter wasn't spared either. One day, while she was coming down the stairs, someone pushed her, even though no one was behind her. At the same time, their 75-pound German Shepherd was also lifted and thrown against a wall by invisible forces. Its ribs were damaged. Just imagine how horrifying that scene must have been. But the Smurl family living in this house couldn't leave. They had invested every last penny they had to buy this house. Even though they didn't know about the house's dark history, anyone who had come to buy this house before must have known something about it. That's why it was sold so cheaply. And that's also why no one was willing to buy it from the Smurl family. They had no way out, but they also had to save their lives. One night, Janet felt that some invisible force lifted her in the air while she was asleep. For a few seconds, she hovered above the bed without touching the ground, and the whole family witnessed this terrifying scene. Every night, a new horror awaited in the house. Sometimes there were ear-piercing screams. Other times, strange growls like a pig echoed from inside the walls. After witnessing these bizarre events all night, no member of the Smurl family could sleep. Their condition worsened day by day. And these strange sounds weren't heard only by the family. Neighbors also reported that even when the house was empty, terrifying screams came from inside. And now, the main target of this haunted house had become Jack. One night, Jack claimed in front of his family that a ghostly shadow came to him and bit his ear. He even showed the wound on his ear to everyone. The entire family was terrified. Jack described that demonic.
Jack even revealed the name of the spirit. Its name was Scubs, and this spirit attacked them while they were sitting peacefully watching TV at night. But the attacks didn't stop there. One night, a spirit knocked Jack to his knees. It dragged him across the house by his hair, all on his knees. His knees were completely damaged. They hit him mercilessly. Who was attacking Jack? He couldn't even see them. But physical assaults were coming from all directions. He could feel the pain, and now these attacks weren't just spreading fear in the house. They were breaking the spirits of the family as well. After this, the family decided to take strong action. I keep thinking, if I were getting kicked and punched like that, and even a single leaf in my house moved on its own, or I sensed any paranormal activity, I wouldn't just take strong action. I'd run away immediately. And it's because families like the Smurl endure everything and still stay that movies like The Conjuring are made. Movies are made about people who suffer through everything and continue living in the house. And this is exactly how the brave, ghost-fearing families become the focus of Ed and Lorraine Warren, the famed paranormal investigators. The year was 1986. By now, the Smurl family's life had become synonymous with fear and terror. Daily incidents had completely broken them, and finally, they chose the path that any ordinary person would choose, going to church. They sought help from a Catholic church. They hoped that perhaps prayers, blessings, and sprinkling holy water would drive these terrifying forces away from their house. In other words, the Smurl family thought,
the family hoped that a priest would enter from one side and the ghost would escape through the back door. But the church shattered the Smurl family's hopes. They refused to send a priest to the house. They even declined to help, saying that first they needed solid proof that the house was haunted. I mean, think about it. How can anyone bring proof of a ghost? You can only feel it once you are there. Literally, was this a church or had they accidentally gone to a court? Anyway, whatever it was, the family was completely desperate. But the incidents happening to them were gradually becoming more widespread and notorious. Finally, Ed and Lorraine Warren stepped in to help. They themselves didn't know that the paranormal activity they were investigating and the families they were meeting, all of them were about to become Hollywood blockbuster movies. I wish I could time travel so that I could go from 2025 and tell Ed and Lorraine Warren all of this. Anyway, the Warrens arrived in West Pittston. The moment they stepped inside the house, they realized, this is not a house, this is a den of ghosts. A strange chill, like an invisible icy wave, seemed to flow through their bodies. Their eyes scanned the walls, and then they said, this house is not normal. There is a lot of danger hidden here. And literally, I've made a video on every house they investigated. And I clearly remember that in every house, Ed and Lorraine Warren had the same reaction. This house is not normal.
Something was definitely wrong. This house was truly not normal. Because the moment Ed took out his cross and started reciting prayers in front of the family, a black shadow began rising from the floor and taking shape.
Imagine a black smoke emerging from the walls and the floor, forming the shape of a human being. Then, in a sudden burst and explosion, the black smoke spread throughout the entire house. It became difficult for everyone to breathe, and everyone had to get out of the house. Afterward, Ed gave a statement to the local newspaper, Times-Leader, whose words still send chills down the spine today. The ghost, devil, demon, whatever you call it, it's in that home. It's very powerful, it's invisible. I don't care if you want to call it a devil or a demon. There is something in this home that has the intelligence to inflict physical and psychological harm upon this family.
It's very powerful. It's invisible. I don't care if you want to call it a devil or a ghost or a demon. There's something in this home which has the intelligence to inflict physical and psychological harm upon this family.
To deal with the ghosts in this house, Lorraine took a very different approach, something she generally didn't do. She went to every corner of the house, taking the Smurl family's 2 daughters with her. She kept talking to the girls while walking through the house, wanting the spirits to reveal themselves to her. The spirits didn't appear directly, but Lorraine did figure out who was in the house. That evening, when she gathered the entire family together and explained, everyone was shocked. According to Lorraine, there were not 1, but 4 different spirits in the house. An elderly woman, a young but very cruel girl, the spirit of a man who had died a painful death in this house, and a poltergeist who was controlling everything. This poltergeist was the one who attacked Jack at night, dragging him by his hair on his knees. All the events happening in the house were being controlled by this spirit. It wanted to break the family, destroy them, because it was the oldest spirit in the house. Whoever entered the house, the poltergeist would go after them. Interestingly, previous families living in the house hadn't experienced such terrifying events.
There was something special about this family that attracted the spirit toward them. According to Ed, the demon was gradually growing stronger. The longer the family stayed in the house, the more it fed on their mental and physical energy, increasing its own power day by day. Ed even claimed to have audio recordings of the demon's voice. He himself had witnessed objects moving on their own inside the bedroom, things falling out of cupboards without anyone touching them. And when Ed, holding a cross in his hand, commanded in the name of Jesus Christ that the spirit should leave the house, it felt as if the walls of the house began to tremble. A shivering energy spread through the entire home, but the spirits refused to leave. They didn't want to go away. They wanted to drive the people out instead. After all these terrifying events, the church finally took notice of the Smurl family. They began to believe that maybe the family was truly in danger. So they sent a few priests carrying holy water to perform small-scale exorcism rituals and prayers in the house. But none of it worked. In fact, the spirits were so cunning that whenever anyone tried to perform such rituals,
Whenever anyone came to perform rituals, the spirits would stop all paranormal activity in the house,
making everyone think that the Smurl family had gone crazy. This ordinary house in West Pittston suddenly became a supernatural hotspot. People started gathering outside the house. Some tried to listen to the sounds from the house at night, while others would throw stones from outside to harass the family. Within just a few days, the Smurl's house had become a media circus. Cameras were set up everywhere, interviews were conducted, and the world's attention was focused on them. Everyone wanted to interview the family, and their stories and experiences were being published in magazines.
Some people believed their story, while others tried to prove them liars with different arguments. But no one was actually helping them. There wasn't a single person brave enough to spend one night in that house with them. Local journalists and so-called paranormal experts dismissed their claims, calling everything a hoax. Everyone turned against the family so harshly that the Smurls finally lost hope. They thought, on one side the ghosts are draining our blood, and on the other side, ever since people found out, even humans have started tormenting us. Ed and Lorraine Warren tried everything they could, but the spirits simply refused to leave the house. So the family made a very difficult decision. They had to leave the house. In 1987, after almost a decade of terror, the Smurl family packed their bags and said goodbye to their haunted home on Chase Street, hoping to find peace in Wilkes-Barre. Then in 1988, writer Robert Curran collaborated with the Warrens to publish a book titled The Haunted: One Family's Nightmare. The book narrated all the terrifying experiences the Smurls had faced, and later a movie of the same name, The Haunted: One Family's Nightmare, was also made based on this story. But even after leaving the house, it felt as though some spirits had followed them. Something bad kept happening to them. It seemed like they were going through a long streak of misfortune. In 1989, a church performed a sacramental exorcism on the family, which subjected them to supernatural persecution and ultimately freed them from the curse. At that time, such trends were common abroad. People often said that every second or third house was haunted or old, because many houses were built during World War II and were sold cheaply. It was even possible that some paranormal activity existed in them. All these events formed the basis for the Conjuring movies. Now, whether those houses actually had ghostly events or it was just so that the houses would become famous in the media is hard to tell. People often exaggerated or made up strange stories about their houses to get attention. What is certain is that the Smurl family went through a lot of suffering. But despite everything, the family members did not lose courage. Though they had to leave their house, I personally think they should have done it within a year or two, rather than waiting 10 to 12 years.
Well, the video is now over. Like the video, and if you want to watch more spooky videos like this, subscribe to the channel. We'll meet again in the next awesome video.